This is a poem called I Work All Day. I work all day like a cool priest, and at night I wander the house on slats that don't creak, reading the tea leaves at the back of my skull. Frequency of rose bouquets hung stalk first to dry, mark every sill as if to say, someone with a heart still lives here. The sound of street racing mobs come down on my calm courage. They want us to be like scientists, this the rational outcome of their experiment. But when I watch myself with camera eye being massacred, my ancestral blood flies, a flock of crows upon the etched faces of the treacherous. It is not my job to study their political violence, of which we are always before, but to write all day with painstaking attention to each line, and how I love the people I love, and how I hate the revving newborn fascist, how I celebrate by releasing unforgiving word bundles that rise into the civic sky. Thank you.
Hello, this is Krystal Languell coming at you pre-recorded from the city of Chicago, following none of my instructions, sitting in an empty, echoey room, but here we go. This poem, my notes tell me I finished on my birthday this year, so let's call it a birthday poem. Handmade meetup, funnel cloud, feed dogs, in my dotage, a slow boat, handy nasty, depreciation cycle, rogue national park, versatile mouse, overhyped crop circle, a leaky faucet, missed opportunities. I forget the word fleece. You fled the city under no threat at all. I say felt instead. Sincerity play, overnight parking, keyed up, weeds in the lot, paint thinner, get a hammer, use a shovel, hit him till he stops. Carpenter ants, truth hurts, somewhere else, New Amsterdam, fuck California, rose and rose, clipped tongue of the dead, surfs up, cool dude, stupid asshole, big weirdo, look forward, crack open, coyote in the cemetery, take the cake, apologies without, insurance work, beaches remained closed, slow numbers, no one imagines, chain link, dirty doctor, drug deal, piss Christ, heirloom loss, hey Cupid, do not rush job, weeping tile, I'm a maniac, can't shut up, now you know. And I will read a second and final poem, which is from a forthcoming book of mine that'll come out next year from Phonograph, which is really exciting and cool for me. Hopefully you too. Desert Edition. So-called artistic production hits the skillet to sizzle, but is in fact routine and unmusical. When new students were mentioned at the stickball game, I asked for their area code and predicted they'd be awful. I was writing poetry about the moon, and men were calling those poems patriotic. Go home and clean your drain coils, I'd urge them, or at least that's what I wanted. The ball field was rife with burrs, called goat heads there and nowhere else I've been. Once in a while, I hit a line drive past third base. Coach me in another lifetime to run in thrift store skirts. At trivia night, stop that! At trivia night, I named the third man in space. You're superstitious if the countdown foretells a jinx. Send a gyroscope along so I can watch how you hustle around the diamond without me. My backward gaze, my spacewalk, my moonwalker, just 2 time zones on the moon, obviously. So you were watching Poetry Project TV? There's a war on.
Happy New Year. This is day number 1113. Take a Tuesday, any old Tuesday. It could be the Tuesday I'll die on. It might be something I'm remembering about the future. I don't know. I think they saw me crawling out of my body. I don't know. I think they saw some private property crawling out of my arm bone. I might have been dead. I might have been apologizing for something I couldn't articulate. What do they call it when you hate being asleep and you hate being awake, when you don't like the literal or the metaphoric? What's the term for when you're looking out your window and all you see is money flowing out of a dead man's mouth? Did you hear the one about what the subtext said to the subtext? Kidnap my landlord. Did you hear the one about the coffins they give to our kids on their birthdays? A poem came out of their dead toy bodies like real A+++ literature filled with colonial daffodils, glaciers, barbarians, bureaucrats. When I die, my archives will be housed at Target or CVS. Blessed is the silence of desire. Blessed is the dignity of silence. I thought I found a way to pay off X, Y, and Z, but JP Morgan told me I'd invested in the wrong massacre. I should go to the old world and become a barrister, or maybe I should repatriate to the shtetl they beat us in, because here the bank is filled with refugees claiming asylum, the debt is filled with citizens claiming asylum, the whole is filled with passports, colonial daffodils, and national anthems. Nature and nation are like twin party gods. They take away our shoes, but they really keep us on our toes. For the first time in my life, I thought of myself as beautiful. I said, self, breathe love into yourself. And by yourself, I meant myself. But when I tried to breathe love into myself, all the voices were like, trigger warning, delusion, trigger warning. The city council ran out of parliamentary semen. The automatic weapons have more rights than I do. Tough break. Just a little death might be fun, sang the mayor to all the poor people who were quite unlikely to vote. They beat me on a Tuesday and no one saw this. It doesn't matter what I did. I was just being myself. I might have been praying. I might have been whispering, hey, where can we watch that birth again? I mean, I'm not interested in just hanging around myself and hearing myself talk to myself as if me and myself were the only ones worth talking to. I'd rather put my mouth where my money is, but they've run out of cryptocurrency at the gas station, and the dentist no longer takes Bitcoin. More and more, I feel like I'm so close to knowing the unknown. Still, I long for the kind of love that will kill me. What's the word for when you eat and shit at the same time? Dumb line. It's day number 1113, and we must love one another or destroy the nation state. They say that time assuages. Wrong.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
They say that time assuages. Wrong.
For how long?
Let's get lost and walk.
Here are matches for Let's Get Lost. Let's get lost.
Siri, I'm trying to finish the poem. Let's get lost and walk into the sea. Guest participation by Siri not planned here on our live footage. Happy birthday, thank you, Poetry Project.
These months lie on the cutting board like orange peels. How can you touch me after all that slicing / juice? I don't wait for apologies. This one meant my forgiveness already. Still, when laid out, dry and perfumed, I taste it in my mouth and can remember the sweetness of being loved by you. Come around again in uniform and slow speech. A street party echoes through the telephone, proliferate transmission. Our faces are more than 6 months older than their last visit in Hall of Mirrors, gaze, salt-rimmed eye, airbag of mutual yearning. Slow flood disclosure, how you wanted. Stiff earth of my chest accepts the laceration. Lighthouse radar scans for this body, whose tributary fantasies are an offshore hurricane. From above, it runs aground, crashes my frame, parted, separates stiff shorts on the meniscus. I am like a faucet you can drink after you loosen it. Sound up. I only hear sound once you say the refrain. I take an ear and mouth and tell you throat. So I leave the east having spilled blood and pen ink on my married friend's sheets. You leave sound in my body. A speeding ticket arrives 3 weeks later. 2 gray photographs of my car there and then there. 11 miles above the school zone speed limit after serving touch tangible as fuel, pulse like a foot on the pedal, time marks morning in stark slashes through blinds. There is real rain in the night, draining my mouth, torture myself annually, and guess what? It works. I'm coming in public again. You're welcome. It has been difficult to be only in the privacy of my home. Faye and I have a papaya for breakfast, drive maskless, trip time zones, piss in crash investigation sites along I-80. Randomly, we are touched by the topography of Iowa, collect ear stones and videos of vultures in silence while the sun sets over Elk Rock, before seeing my car weighted with possessions, peel an overripe cantaloupe, coring rotten spots, the actual thinness of my purported strength under weight of objects. Having yearned for loneliness, I disallowed its full approach until a hot desert wind speaks like a demon in my ear all night. I lie on a blanket in the sand and take it. The moon bubbles above the rocks, still thick and unsympathetic. She's like, what? I'm waning. Burns loudly against my eyelids, open on the hour to pay respect to the Milky Way, which remains unspeakably grandiose, despite the wreckage on Earth and narcissists who distract from love. Toe the powder in your boots. In desert silence, my own tough shyness, missing you as I miss being unprotected from myself, wake up in the dust with no body, until my mother texts, she is by the lake, she has badly injured her knee. What can I do about it from the sandstone city with ceiling on fire? Smoke covers 70% of the sky, and highways are roped off for human safety, while trees light up on screen, and women I come from don't love themselves enough to ask for help. I remember knowing what I wanted. I got it sometimes on a small mattress in a room, orange as a low-laid celestial you-know-what. Being there then and elsewhere now. When the spirit of night takes form of a human body with articulate fluid for hand and mouth, I am most in love with you when you take your risk to trust what you know and do with it what you know is absolutely necessary.
Hi, I'm Carley Moore. Happy New Year. I want to give a content warning for depression and suicide in this poem. Depression poem for M and N. I don't get up for me, I get up for you. Some days, like today, there is rain and sirens, and I can't think of a reason to get out of bed except for you. I don't get up for me, I get up for the cat who scratches the couch if I don't feed her, for my students who are waiting at the far end of a camera in rooms I half understand. I get up to take my medications, to eat, to pee, to change my bloody tampon, to look at my phone. On the days you are here, I get up to wake you up for school, for your stretches, for the breakfast you will ignore, even if you like it. I don't get up for me because I'm not sure who I am these days, or what I do. I get up for you. I get up to write. I get up to make coffee, to listen to your poem, your voicemail, that one song. Mostly, I don't want to get up. I wish on many days to be dead, but I am not. How selfish is this wish, how private, how terrible to feel it and write it. Still, it is my body, my land, my one space of dominion, and so I own it here in a poem, because poems are my containers for the unsayable. I get up today for you. You get up, I say. You. Thank you. I love you all. I miss you very much, and thank you, Poetry Project, and I hope I get to see and touch you in 2021. Bye.
Marginalia for Mahmoud Darwish. Of this place I choose the wind. Your throne was margin, your voice a ruin of Birwe, the throne and the road. What remains of what you walked on? Of this place you chose the wind. Of and of Odysseus and Shahrazad, you woke to morning inside a suitcase. Yourself and not yourself, you are at last arced textures housed in our mouths. You opened the window, all these rain shards are words. You nearly mastered absence. How dare you die? Script, a paleography for the future for Michal Rovner. We are written, we are writhing, living letters in liquid text. We are bowing, we are rowing over water at black silent, film still and yet fulfill some script, each our bodies sinking syntax. Each pull threatens what has threaded us into this crowd. Is there meaning in the moaning we can quite hear? Ought we quiet, breathing labor? Ought we coax her? Is it death pangs? Is it birth throes? She is rowing over darkness. She is writing living letters in a liquid next. Isdud for Fatty Judah. Dear descendant of the disappeared, you ascend the pillar of your own air, spin and span whole abysses with lines translating there to hear and hear, to where wind winds in dry waddies, hoists sea in handful after invisible handful, is due now your email address and digital image of branches through windows within school ruins. A refugee points with his cane to what he only can see. You argue against the argument against yourself you yourself make and home in. Kiss my blind eyes clear, close keyholes with opening. You, homeland, you, cradle in vowels, what was not never yours. I'll hold it here till you return. Unnamed events. Absolutely impossible. Impossible. Not at all possible. Perhaps at some point. Sometime. Maybe. Not yet. Not now. And not now. And not now. Perhaps soon. It could be soon. Really soon. Perhaps earlier than expected. Quite soon. Just about. No. Vнимание. Вот здесь. Well, that's about all. That's all.
Hi everyone. I'm going to be playing for you 3 micro songs that work with text written by Diane DePrima from her revolutionary letters that she composed between May 1968 and December 1971. The text from them is going to be down here, so if you ever get a sense of the melody as I'm playing it and you want to join in from home, please do. sides to bring it down. It will take all of us shoving at the thing from all sides to bring it down. We see with all our skin. We smell with our eyes too. Sense and sex are boundless, and the call is to be boundless with them. Make the joy now. Make the joy now. Make the joy now. Make the joy now. Make the joy now.
Hello, this is Cedar Sigo, and I'm reading to you from across the water from Seattle, near Suquamish. And this is my first time participating in the St. Mark's New Year's celebration, so thank you so much. I'm just going to read 4 new poems. The first one is called Lectures from the Earth. Artaud's Trilogy in Mexico City, 1936, or Lectures in America, Composition as Explanation, Other Traditions, Vachel Lindsay's rickety, winded lectures of old, or Langston Hughes body slamming him after, outside the Longshoremen's Hall. Anything can happen on the road, where our voices have the best example of spreading forth, sprung off loose in the night. Definitive dawn, crowded, cobalt, where clouds of gold are spun and weighted, yawn, set fire to the wheel. Add Polynesian bells from the morning streets of Anchorage, the strikingly white coats of 2 mountain goats, dried linden leaves dangled down. The cobwebs wet and slivered between bricks, white steam. The swimming pool was built underground at the Hotel Captain Cook, traceries of light double-crossed, locking down the deep end. The listener is thrown so far inside before any thought is given to the body unfolding. Man drowning with flowers. A dream is not necessarily assigned one body. The general drift of a day is allowed to form its new surface. Outlined crosses, upper human figures, coiled baskets, bracken fern, a lamp that flares out in my sunken chest. The village is streamlined with collapsible mauve steeples, a point at which the line locks back in refusal, audible, even his signature, not safe from machine-like violence. Colossal spider sent back up the mountain, turning out from within. What if the path is still disconnection, dead tendrils unarranged? A pastel overview, even its forest comes interlocked with diamonds, a disease rife with suffocation, descriptions, distant ends of the rusted track. A mask we attach to the screen and watch. The white dots frolic as if they are beyond our control, or at crossroads. Blinding haystacks, man drowning with yellow flowers, pink and red distended organs underneath layers of minerals. No message. A green paper edge to the river, a line of madrone torn back from the sea, wobbling on the rise at cliffside. This is titled Solarium. Uranium-tinged, black opal-like truth. We demand the end of money as poetry demands unemployment. Always in deference to the received, freakish over imagined conduct, nightmare alleyway. It's the signature tick, the demon guardian you must slide past with your tongue that morphs as you age. Sometimes writing is waiting for a panel of clouded glass to come clean. Did I dream Sophie Tauber Arp as a silhouette sweeping a pile of Swiss francs? I remember asking workers to remove the microphone from the round room, big mistake, which the gallery may have taken as a traditional choice. Colossal visions twitch, imposing variation in rhythm, the forest through the city and back. What if I am already dead, calm, and feeling undivided? I will have to begin to make art in the old ways, to even fake at breaking even, attempt to form daylight, or sing to myself and choose to retrace it. Old threads of yellow, varnished, blown to the edge of a white ravine. The scene is such, the wall itself is torn. And I'll read one more short poem. And this is for the poet and curator Zoe Bresney. Disguised sonnet on style. People don't flex on La Mantia's style much. That's a shame. A few incandescent devotees. With Joanne, it's always hard. How can I duplicate hypnotic, forgetful strumming? John Wiener's possessed the outsized staging and drama of Collis, backed by Visconti sets, geometric, anemic, and later in retreat. Will Alexander is also a healer of the roundhouse, a purely psychic pre-body space that aligns nicely with Cecilia's work. I need to look closer and to quiet this blown-out, stubborn mind. And then Anne Waldman, of course, a rabble-rousing sheet of sound offered for our inscription, worn proudly in chorus as the best armor is. Thank you so much. Happy New Year.
Poem beginning to sound. Myself as echo, failed synonym. Disappeared music returns to my father's house, playing against a white painter's cloth nailed to the wall. A flag was waving distantly, the perimeter wet with flowers. Like a child burying favorite words in the sandbox, I filled the undying year with tasks. I keep at it, planting fingers in the gaps between lines. I wrote notes into an opening for he who departed in color. I knew only lightly. Across from the oil filling station, rosettes of cloud. It's Saturday and I've made promises to remember the dead. Some circuitry ticking painfully in the forehead now that Uncle is gone. A needlework of electrical wire passing through the young heads of trees. Old books begin to bore me, their yellowing answers. Birds squawking poetry beside a rusty pond. An uncle in my mind turning always like the last abundant word. Poem for feeling's sake. Morning with a feeling to walk. Limbs churning through air and the traffic so polite. Where the past meets the day's magnetosphere, a hectic body, growing older and more unknown as the mood turns. Trees in the plaza boxing for sky. Something dry and melancholy rustling underfoot. I passed the sunburned outline of a vine against the garden's pale wall. One bud in the neighbor's gutter, the other reaching as it opened. Who am I to think about philosophy, money, reading books in my sweltering private factory, when the color of the hour was really gemstone chiffon swirling in a giant god's eye? When time coughed me up naked and dazzling, I was hungry for nectarines and heavy cream, fish heads in broth, sprouted white beans. While up from here, past a cool, starry nothingness, infallible satellites roaming in description, their chrome rabbit ears tweaking out human signs. Happy New Year, everyone.
Hi everyone, my name is Candace Williams. Today I'm going to read Black Body. I chose Black Body because it was selected to be part of the Poetry Project's poetry canon. Black Body begins with an epigraph. Black Body. An ideal body now defined is called a black body. The black body is a perfect absorber. Robert Siegel and John R. Howell, Thermal Radiation Heat Transfer, Volume 1. A body can be perfectly black, meaning it absorbs all radiance, all heat and light waves that fall upon it. A black body is perfect because it is a perfect absorber. All waves that strike its surface pass into the body, and the body absorbs them internally. Nothing striking the black body passes through the body's edges. Nothing striking the black body is reflected back into the environment. The black body is perfect. It is opaque. It is not defined by its size or shape. It might not be black at all. The color black absorbs all wavelengths of light that fall upon it. The black body is named for its presumed blackness to the naked eye, but a black body can be red or blue or another color. The blackness is theoretical. The black body is theoretical, a device used to give body to abstractions. Perfect black is a theoretical ideal. It has not been observed but exists for the sake of comparison. For the sake of comparison, the opposite of a black body is a white body. A white body reflects all waves perfectly in all directions. The white body is also an abstraction that exists for the sake of comparison. The albedo scale compares white bodies and black bodies. Albedo comes from Arabic's albayad. Albayad roughly translates to whiteness. In physics, albedo is a measure of reflectivity and brightness. Scientists say the albedo effect is warming our planet beyond safety. Said another way, the whiteness effect is warming our planet beyond safety. 91% of Fortune 500 CEOs are white men. Outdoor air pollution has risen 8% in the past 5 years. The Arctic is melting. The white ice is falling into the dark sea, turning reflective surfaces into heat absorbers. It's getting warmer. By it's getting warmer, I mean that it was 129.2 degrees in Iran last week. By it's getting warmer, I mean that in 2010, 10,000 scorched to death in Moscow. By it's getting warmer, I mean that by 2080, 3,300 will scorch to death on the streets of New York City, and half of those buried will be black. It's getting warmer, and I wonder about white men in boardrooms. I wonder about the PowerPoint presentations and profit diagrams. On the diagram, the blue line is profit. The black bodies pile under the blue line over the axis of time, and the blue line rises. In the boardroom, the black body is the ideal. We absorb perfectly. Thank you.
Sitting at 10th Street and 2nd Avenue, across the cobblestone plaza, lies the east yard of St. Mark's on the Bowery. 2 or 3 pounds of corn grains fill in the cracks between the stones. Winos, junkies, and smartly dressed women and men inhabit the littered plaza, lined by 4 benches on the southwest sidewalk. The sky, gray, threatening rain. "Let it pour and pour and pour," said the woman to my rear. Preservation Youth Project, St. Mark's Sunday Services, Poetry Project, Theater Genesis, where Richard August directed Hoa Stroll, Community Bulletin Board signaling church and people come together on the Stuyvesant side of St. Mark's. Called Michael to his window when I was walking west on 12th Street. He yawned and waved through though sleep had drained the projected verse from his brow. Gary's moved into Alan's building. I wonder if Alan's tongue will lap the poetic resin oozing from young 3rd, 2nd, and 5th floor cocks. There's a woman on the 4th floor of 166 2nd Avenue, right over M. Horowitz's sign painter supply store, who's been sitting there ever since I was 12. I suspect she had a toilet built by the window. Once I sat and watched her for 13 hours. She never moved. I finally broke the spell because I had to go, not her. Lost thought when a 7-year-old boy cried because his mother was stoned and didn't want to go home. Stopped writing and left when his mother wouldn't take him to the bathroom. She whistled me over, asked if I'd take him across the street to the John at the Greek's Greasy Spoon because she was waiting for her friend. We crossed the street. He was shy, pulling back, got to the John. I stayed outside till he called. Asked if I'd help, said yes. He showed me his pants, smeared and stinking. He had to go, he said. It wasn't his fault, he couldn't hold it anymore. I washed his pants as he talked and washed himself. Crossed him over to the northwest side of 10th Street. Asked him if wet pants felt uncomfortable. Yes, but less smelly, he said.